Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast Fall Break. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
Hey, George, did you finish the movie?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. Bonus. So,
Sang.
Yeah.
not that I was worried, but we did watch Halloween 2007, the Rob Zombie reboot.
Uh-huh.
And about 20 minutes in, I was thinking, am I going to finish this movie? But I did. And I'm excited to hear what you thought. George, how are you, man?
I'm good.
Travis, how are you holding up after another zombie experience?
I'm doing okay, I guess.
This is one of those zombie experiences that, much like the Walking Dead ones, you're lucky to have your brain intact at the end.
Word.
But I don't want to bias George. George, tell me about Halloween. I know you love the original. How'd you like that reboot?
Well, I found myself, when I was watching it, there's a lot that's different. Like, it's very, very, very different. And I didn't want the differentness of it
To affect it.
because I know that I can't just forget everything that happened in the original.
Right.
I have to watch this being informed by the original, but then also realize that this is a completely different director just doing his thing.
Right.
There were parts of it that, and this is all opinion, this is just me, like what I like. Parts of it I liked.
Yeah.
And parts of it I didn't care for. And
Parts you despised.
it's
the common consensus.
Yeah. It had some good stuff, and it had some stuff where I was like, yeah. So we can discuss all that.
What was the good stuff?
Well,
Like, what did you take away that you felt was a good addition? Wow.
That's a pregnant
It's-
pause is what that is.
it's hard to because
That pause
What
was
did he-
so pregnant, I'm afraid that it spent time with Judith Meyer's stepdad. Unsupervised.
oh my god.
Holy shit. Is that amniotic fluid?
No,
Is that-
what was it?
That's Dan and Post.
Yeah. It wasn't amniotic. What did they say in the movie?
Placental fluids.
fluid. Not even the
Placental
right
fluid.
term. I'm pretty sure they
Placental
had a
juice.
placental infraction that
This movie had a placental infraction.
this movie had a cerebral infraction. Go on. Hi, this is Dan in Post. Just in case you haven't heard our episode on The Cell, make sure you go listen to that from me and my hatred of pseudoscience. Infraction. What's the difference?
Okay, so what did the movie add that I liked was the question.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of anything.
Because you're not sure. But I agree with you. So I'm just curious as to what
So here's the thing. Like, I don't want to go whole hog and say I liked it, but I get what you guys were saying about the backstory of Myers.
Okay.
Okay. So
Why don't we break it down in, since this is kind of like Full Metal Jacket, let's break it down in 3 movies. 'cause
It
that's
is
what
a
we
lot like
have
Full
here.
Metal Jacket for
Yeah,
one
we have
reason in
3
particular.
movies. Right. We have the 3 sections. We have the pre-story, the
Yeah.
preamble, the
mhm.
The first
prelude,
30 minutes or so.
first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you have the in the asylum, and then you have the High School Musical version of Halloween.
Okay.
So that's the 3 movies there. How did they handle the origin
Okay.
in your mind?
In the original, the origin was just non-existent.
Right.
Right?
Or
Ju-
it's in your head. Your origin is
Well, yeah, if it's in your head, then it's not there.
I mean,
Like-
let's be clear. There is an origin in the original Halloween. It is just first-person perspective to a crane shot of a young child with a knife. Like,
right.
you get an
And
origin, but it's just very skeletal.
And through Loomis's talk, he kind of gives you a little window of his interaction with Michael as a child.
Right.
That you never saw. But you do get a backstory in a way. A good enough
Okay.
backstory where you're like, okay, he comes from a good home. His parents are together.
Yep.
Nothing's crazy, but he snapped. So that gave you a little bit. This is the opposite.
Right. So, in my experience, usually, I mean, like most of human behavior is, like pretty rational. And a kid that comes from a home like that you described in the original just has no reason to snap. Like they haven't given him any kind of backstory as to like why he might snap.
Right.
So the fact that we had more backstory here is an addition. I don't want to say that I like it because I don't know if I like it or not. But it was the director's choice and I don't hate it. Right? I'm just saying like this is a different movie altogether. Like just totally separate. Separate the two. I watched this movie and I didn't hate that.
Right.
I know some people do. I think you do.
The reason why I dislike it, I do hate parts of it. I hate the dialogue. I think they went over the top.
I also hate the dialogue.
Yeah, they went over the top with creating this environment.
Yeah.
To the point where you feel so sorry for Michael Myers. Like his upbringing is horrendous. Like the total creation of him into a psychopath, the whole time you're sympathetic. Even to the bullies in school. Like everything. Everything's extreme. Everything is zombied.
Yes.
So
I mean, you could even argue that you're sympathetic toward Myers up to and including the egregious rape scene.
yes.
Until
Yeah.
you have the snap where they mess with his masks and he starts killing people and you're like, oh, that's not a heroic move. But I mean, really up through the beginning of that scene, you're like, oh, and here they are just life picking on Michael again. Like,
Right. Yeah, I think taking the bully stuff out and toning down a lot of that family stuff eliminates feeling bad for him, but also kind of tells the story. But because it's there, it's so there. Like, it's just too much. Way too much to the point where you're like, okay, this kid was doomed from the beginning, and even though he has tendencies of a serial killer where he's torturing animals, he's killing animals to see if he can dissecting them or whatever he's doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's textbook stuff.
Yeah.
But when you add in the Forsyth character, the stepdad,
mm-hmm.
and the first 5-10 minutes of just the berating, the stuff that he says, it's way too much. The mom's too much. The sister, you don't care about any of them. You root for Michael Myers, which might be Zombies' approach, but to me, it kind of eliminates any kind of horror from it. To me, it would have been amazing if he didn't talk the whole time, even before he went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't talk, was doing those weird things in the bathroom, doing weird things in the woods, but not experiencing all that other stuff. And then he snaps in the classroom, kills a teacher, snaps in the cafeteria, kills a teacher, kills a student out of the blue, not methodically hunting them down. Like, all that stuff just doesn't scream Michael Myers to me. It would have been way more shocking and scary. Just like in the original. Like, you see him kill his sister. You don't know he's 6 if you didn't see the trailer.
Right.
And then they pull the mask off and he's 6. And then they do the crane ascending.
Yeah.
And you're like, the whole time they're zooming out, you're like, holy shit, that was a kid the whole time.
Yeah.
They could have done that here with a bit of a shock. Cause,
okay.
To me, it's, I don't know.
I mean, I just feel like the director made a choice. He wanted to give this killer a good reason to kill, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And as painful as it was to watch, with the acting, the dialogue, the general, ickiness of it.
Yeah, you needed a shower.
It was successful. I thought, like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It gave Michael Myers a reason to snap. Other than just like, he's effed up for a reason that we were never given.
Right.
You know? So it's there. I didn't hate it. It's a choice.
Okay.
And maybe I like it a little bit better because of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that
I think it would have landed better if they didn't carry it over into the school. Like, it just seemed like everybody was at 11.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he's getting that at home. Maybe he's not getting that at school. But because he's getting it at home, he brings that terror to school.
It's tough because he laid it on real thick.
Yeah. I mean,
so just don't lay it on so thick.
Yeah, it's like the dialogue in this movie and the character development and even the production design, it really feels like the only world that Rob Zombie can imagine is literally like a rock and roll tour bus going to a summer rock and roll festival.
Right.
And it's like everybody in this world exists within the confines of, you know, that little understanding, which is, it's fine, but maybe it doesn't transplant as well to Haddonfield, the suburb, as it would if he hadn't just based his remake of Halloween in a kid on a tour bus going crazy and killing the people at Ozfest or something.
Because that's the other thing. Like, we lived near there.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in Haddonfield that acts that way. Like, it's just, it's not, you have to go a few towns over to get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more than a few.
Yeah. It's, to me, that's what made Haddonfield scarier.
You gotta, yeah. I mean, yeah, so, the way Haddonfield was portrayed in this movie was very different from the original. The original is like, it's a suburb, it's a bubble, like it's, you know, it's safe.
Yeah,
and that's what makes Michael Myers so scary, is because it's supposed to be this safe, wholesome place, and it's
he's
not,
a masked phenom killing in Mayberry.
Exactly. So and by the time he gets out of the hospital, it is portrayed that way, the town, right? Well,
to an extent,
I guess, yeah.
It's a little bit more like they portrayed it in part 6, where it's kind of like, it's kind of trashy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be highfalutin kind of, and it's not in this movie. It's very
Again, another
average.
thing that is just very different. You know, and I think it's tough to like this movie because it's so different, and the original is so loved.
Yeah,
it's, you know, it's so loved, and this is just so different.
Well, and if you get to a point that you're making everything so different, why are we still calling it Halloween?
Yeah, is it even the same movie?
But then, but then by the second and third act, it is the same movie that you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But the first 30 minutes of this movie are like a Rob Zombie prequel to Halloween, and then cut to his actual remake of Halloween for the last hour and a half, which I find myself, if I can make it through the first half hour, if I can get to Ken Foree in the bathroom, I like the movie from there until almost to the end. There's a good chunk, an hour, 10 minutes or so, where it's like, wow, this movie isn't very bad. And the shots are great throughout. You know, the visual style is fantastic. But I have to get through the trailer park intro, and then I have to really just check out hard before we start pulling pictures out of Michael's pocket.
Right.
Well, in the beginning they also kind of destroy the Loomis character too. Like he's not experiencing the stuff that we are expecting. When you hear Donald Pleasance give his delivery of lines, you expect, if they're going to do a prequel, to see those exchanges and to see this kid go fully blank, stare, blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Like, it never went to, it was more like emotional breakdowns and stuff. It wasn't really to the point where at any point did I fear for Loomis's safety, even though he did kill that nurse. I never felt he was in danger. And Loomis. I never felt that Loomis. And I never felt that Loomis had any interactions to the point where he had an oh shit moment where he's like, this little kid is going to be a freight train, and we need to keep him locked up.
They really shouldn't have had such
phone.
They shouldn't have had such a nice gym in the mental hospital. That was poor foresight.
Yeah.
Unlike William Forsythe, which in this movie he was a poor Forsythe.
Yeah.
He's fallen a long way from The Rock, is what I'm saying.
Definitely. Yeah, he's running the FBI in The Rock. I think. Was he running the FBI?
He was like one of the top guys, but I
Yeah.
don't think he's like the top guy. He's the one with the history with Sean Connery.
Right.
Forsythe. Whatever his last name is. I don't remember what his name is in the movie, but
I don't know. To me, all that's and yeah, in the second and third act, it suffered. Yeah, they tried to pay homage to things from the original, but it suffered. There was no relationship between Laurie and Tommy, or I don't even think did they even say the kid's name?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I thought Tommy was good. I thought the kids were good.
No, the kids were good, but I mean, there was no babysitter feeling to this movie.
All right, so one of the things that I absolutely did not like, which was another choice that strayed from the original, was like Laurie Strode being less than wholesome.
You didn't like her fingering a bagel?
No, fuck no.
That part makes me want to quit watching the movie too.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah.
like it. And
She was too Linda.
yeah, she was just kind of like,
I don't know. Linda was like kind of ditzy and was sexually free, but she wasn't gross about it.
Vulgar, yeah.
yeah. And yeah,
We
and
sound like a
I
bunch
just,
of prudes, but it's
No, but that's
It's
the whole
jarring.
point of the original movie, was that she was, because Jamie Lee Curtis even talks
Yeah.
about that. She says, "I am Linda in real life,"
Yeah,
and they cast me as Laurie, which is the opposite of me, but I'm going to play this part, and she plays the hell out of it,
mm-hmm.
and she becomes the final girl,
Yeah.
the mold,
Yep.
and this Laurie
Is
doesn't
not-
hold a torch to that.
No, not at all.
But I think in the original, they establish the babysitter angle way better,
Mm-hmm.
and they establish the kids' relation, all the kids, even Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
all the kids' relationships with their babysitters.
Yeah.
And then they trickle in the adult behavior of the babysitters that becomes detrimental to them later.
Yeah, and it all ends up, all the babysitting responsibilities fall on Laurie because
Right.
she's the only one that's
And that's all missing
wholesome.
in this movie. I feel like it got rushed at the end because they spent so much time in the beginning on all the other bullshit that you didn't get those experiences in this one, which
Yeah.
would have definitely helped.
Yeah.
Because you don't care about Linda when she goes.
No.
You don't even care about Bob. You don't care about anybody.
No.
You care a little bit about Annie, but I care more about her because of who she is, and not so much the character.
Yeah.
Interested to hear if George is on the level to figure out why you said that.
Mm,
Should
Do
we
you
talk
know-
about casting a little bit?
sure.
Because I would say casting in this movie is one of the strong suits. Like one of the
Yes.
things when I see these people pop up, your D. Wallaces and your friggin' Brad Dourif, my favorite actor who
Mhm.
is just crazy in every role, not acting crazy. But I mean, he's the best actor in this movie, right? I mean,
He
everybody.
would have been a good Loomis.
Yeah, but he's not British.
I know.
But he's a great bracket. Like in
Yeah.
this movie, he's my favorite character, and it's not just because I love Brad Dourif, but like he's genuinely in the moment more than anybody in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also the best actor in the movie.
But again, what suffers in this movie that you don't get in the original, the bracket character in the original is a carbon copy of Andy Griffith, like
Right.
visually and demeanor.
Yep.
The Brad Dourif character looks like he threw back some whiskey before work. Like he doesn't look like Andy Griffith at all. He doesn't.
Yeah, he looks like he's stressed out.
Yeah, he looks more like Don Knotts and
Yeah.
like Don Knotts on a binge. So to me, that kind of lessens even though I liked his version and I like him, I think the bracket character being that Andy Griffith was done on purpose.
Oh, for sure.
On purpose.
With Donald
Thumper and
Purpose, guys.
fuckatage.
But yeah,
it was done on purpose.
It's one of those things too where I look at these zombie movies, these Rob Zombie movies, as opposed to the Spring Outbreak zombie movies. But I look at Rob Zombie's movies and I see his casting choices, and I realize like he and I have a very similar taste in movies. Like we would probably be buddies watching movies, and then it disappoints me so much that I can't get more into his worlds that he builds.
Right.
But I mean, when you're pulling Richard Lynch from Invasion USA into the same movie as Sid Haig, like you're speaking my language here, man. Like these are my guys. It's like a reunion of all my favorite crappy 70s and 80s movies. But then it looks so visually stunning, and then it's just a dialogue nightmare.
Yeah.
It was visually stunning.
And delivery-wise, like there's certain... If you did a remake of a classic, like let's say you did a remake of Die Hard, you know what lines have to be in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how they have to be either delivered or done better, or they fall flat. Every single line that Loomis delivered fell flat.
Right.
Yeah.
He did not believe what he was saying. As good of an actor as McDowell is, he didn't believe like Pleasance believed what he was saying.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I have this line, I have to say it. And even when he finds out about the tombstone being stolen, like that scene in the original is so much better because the guy, the greenskeeper's like counting out the spots. He's looking at the paper. You can see in Pleasance's face, he knows. Once he figures out who's laying there, he just says he came home. Like it was just like a matter of fact kind of thing. But McDowell, when he delivers it, it's like he can't get the car fast enough. He's not delivering the line. It's almost like an afterthought. The other guy, Sid Haig, he kind of jumps to. They all kind of know what they're supposed to be saying. They know what the scene means, and they just kind of rush through it.
Yeah,
because they have their marks and they have to hit them. That's why I call it the high school musical.
Yeah,
because when you see a high school do a play that you've seen on Broadway, it's the same lines.
That's how it seems.
Right, it's the
exactly
same song,
like that.
same lines, same marks, same set design, but executed by a high school. So you're like, okay, yeah, that line was great when I saw it 3 years ago, but fell flat here because this kid just had it written on his hand and he never felt it.
Yeah, right. It's like it's amateur delivery, but it's not like non-actor like Clerks amateur delivery. It's much more like a stale reading.
Yeah, like they're all at a table doing a table reading.
Yeah, only they're outside, and a man with long hair is yelling at them to hurry up. George, at some point, I don't know if you'd ever sit through this movie again, but the director's commentary for this movie is great. Listening to Rob Zombie just chat at you about making movies, he's super interesting. He comes across very intelligent.
Yeah. I like him when I like Rob Zombie. I just don't like his movies.
Yeah.
It's almost like Marilyn Manson. Like I
funny.
like Marilyn Manson more. I like his music sometimes, but I like him when he's giving an interview. He's so freaking smart.
Oh yeah.
And everything he says is just like, I might not agree with it, but I'm like, wow. Like
yeah.
Even Eminem, like people like that, like when they talk, they give an interview. If the interviewer is good, you like the person more. Maybe not their work, but you like them. And I think when I hear Rob Zombie give an interview about the process or what he was thinking or what his creative process is, I can listen to it all day. Same thing with Kevin Smith. I can listen to him all day. Whatever it is he's talking about, I'll listen.
Yeah.
But I'm not always a big fan of their movies because I don't like their style sometimes to the point where I'm like, I have to eat it up.
That's fair. I think Dan just expressed the same thing.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I'm actually going to go listen to the commentary because I probably would enjoy it more.
It's great. Halloween 2 also, he does a real good one. But you have to sit through Halloween 2, which is... We're not even going to do that to George.
You get more Annie in that movie, so...
That's true. Now, before we talk about Annie, George, I mentioned Ken Foree earlier. He's Big Joe Grizzly from the bathroom fight.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him as an actor?
Mm-mm.
He's the lead in Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when he popped up in this
Wow.
movie, I was like,
Friend of the
oh my
show.
God, friend of the show, Ken Foree. I left a
Wow.
lot of brothers down there. Both. Love that
Both.
line. Anyway, yeah. So in that fight between him and Tyler Mane, the Michael Myers guy, I mean, they're beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, I don't know about each other.
Yeah, well, I
It
mean,
was kind of
mostly
one-sided.
it's a
It was
one-sided
very-
affair. But
It was very
he's
one-sided.
getting put through that bathroom, that stall. Like, it's a brutal fight. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I can give Rob Zombie credit for. Like that, everything looked great.
Yeah.
Like all of the effects looked great. The the blood photographed beautifely,
It looked great
Um,
in the bottle and on the camera.
In the bottle and on
Yep.
film.
and the the effects weren't like so over the top.
No.
It looked real as fuck.
Well, and the twitchy kills. It's a level of
Yeah.
brutality you don't normally see in the like slasher movies, where generally you have an off button inside that when you get stabbed you just turn off and collapse. Like
Yeah.
Right.
You're dead before you hit the ground.
this
Yeah.
You're
was
bleeding
much
out for a
more.
half hour.
Ooh.
Yeah, like when the creepy stepdad gets his throat slit
Mm.
and like the knife passes and you don't really see anything for
Yeah. 'cause
what feels like an eternity,
blood
and
has
then
to
it
flow.
just starts coming out, and it's just, and he's still alive and he's like gasping, and it's like, this is I mean I don't know anything about
real
slitting
death,
people's
right.
throats, but like that looked real as fuck to me.
Same with the nurse. Like, it was the nurse that was kind of, she looked dead laying against the wall, but she was still kind of like she was kind of like mumbling stuff.
yeah.
Like, to me, that's good. All that, more of that.
Definitely a post-Hostel movie. If we're charting the timeline of mainstream horror movies, we've had our post-Saw, post-Hostel, torture porn era to where now those kind of kills are acceptable in a slasher movie.
Yeah, and when Myers kills Bob against the wall in the staircase,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like he didn't need that knife. It was iconic. You have to do the knife pin to the wall because that's one of the benchmarks you have to do,
Hit,
the boxes you have to check.
Mhm.
But him slamming him against the wall, lifting him up, and the feet are dangling was way better than the original movie. Like, it looked like he was really killing him.
Yeah.
Like the Annie kill in the original. Like,
It kind
Yeah.
of, that part gave me Texas Chainsaw vibes.
yeah.
The twitching after the hammer shot before he drags him through the door.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
But then he finishes with like the knife stab and the head turn, and I feel
You
like
can't even see it.
it just doesn't even. I don't know. It looks like he's doing it because he was told to.
Yeah, it didn't
He's not
land
in the
because
moment for that part.
the original shot.
See the
This-
head tilt. If I was the director, I would just not do it, because the original was just
But they already committed to doing the reprise or what do you call it in the theater when you
A revival.
they did the ghost, Bob, they did everything,
Yeah.
so they have to do the head tilt, but they didn't shoot it in the right angle to where you can even tell he's tilting his head.
Well, and
think
he
that was
tilts
done
his head
purposely.
after all these different kills, and it's like, man, it went from being a cool thing he did in one shot that made it creepy
Yeah.
to like now it's just like his little wrestling signature after he does his finisher.
yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Hogan must pose, right? Myers
Yeah.
must tilt.
It's like when Undertaker throws his eyeballs back.
Exactly.
Although, does he do the sit up in this movie?
There is no sit up that I remember.
There is no sit up. I was kind of looking for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he stabs Bob, I was like, it looked weird.
Yeah.
It was almost
It's
like
different.
the angle was different,
It's
but it was
different.
like it didn't even look like he had enough enough push to it to stick him to the wall.
Yeah, and he hit him in a weird spot. It looked like it would have hit him in the breastbone.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even know if that's where you. I've never pinned a guy to a wall with a butcher knife, but I would imagine that's not the spot.
But
I
it
could
seems
be
to me like
wrong.
the
I would
actor-
imagine it's just beneath.
Yeah. But the actor didn't seem like he had ever seen Tyler Mane in that outfit yet. Cuz his
Yeah.
oh shit face
Yeah.
when he was pinned against that wall with the hand on his throat. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've met Tyler Mane. His hand is about the size of my head. Like, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
And that actor didn't look like he was acting because he wasn't given that delivery at any other point in this movie.
What do you guys think about the little double fake out for the audience where Bob is actually wearing the sheet for a second?
I like that. That threw me off a little bit, and I liked it.
It's a good game to play with the audience, but does it take away from the scariness if the movie's winking at you?
What it takes away from is the creativeness of Myers. It turns him into a copycat.
It turns him into an imitation.
Yeah, like to me, that's the funniest part of the original movie was where did that come from? Where did the idea of him pulling the sheet, cutting holes in the eyes?
It's from the head of an 11-year-old.
Right.
That's where it comes
and
from.
And to me, it's like it adds so much more to that character. Just like when he puts the phone to his ear and he's got that blank face and he's like listening to the phone, like that's the good stuff. That's the minutia, and that's the what I love about these movies.
You know, I'm not completely convinced that John Carpenter didn't make the original, and all of these things happened mostly by accident.
It's possible.
Although
he did. Castle did say that he was told to tilt his head.
Okay.
He has said that in many interviews.
There's just things that you point out from the original where I'm like, I don't even know if that was even had anything to do with.
It's a choice. I want to see the script and see if it was described as he was wearing a ghost costume with Bob's glasses on. Or was that something on set that they decided, or is that something that in writing they said, okay, how do we determine Michael Myers is different from other serial killers? He's posing bodies. He's putting them in positions. He's stealing tombstones and putting them on beds. Like, there's shit that he's doing that no other killer does.
Right.
Jason had a mural to his mother, but that was it.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to kill these counselors and lay them at your feet. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like an altar.
And it's not really, he's not posing them.
Okay.
Like, he set up a tombstone in the bedroom when he laid Annie out.
Mm-hmm.
He lit a jack-o'-lantern. No, did he light the jack-o'-lantern, or was that already lit? That was already lit. But he puts a ghost sheet on, puts Bob's glasses on.
That's hilarious.
Like, to me, that's doing in this version, showing Bob like that, takes it away from Michael. And that angered me a little bit.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and see the writing session between Deborah Hill and John Carpenter for that scene with Bob, or with Michael dressed as Bob. Because I imagine the conversation is, we want to do dial M for murder with the phone. So we need to find a way to get her to acknowledge he's there, but not be scared yet.
Right.
How do we do that? And then they probably worked backwards from there, which, if you're Rob Zombie and you're trying to ground this more, that would be a perfect time to do the Bob trick like he did in this movie, because suddenly you've grounded it and Myers isn't some kind of goofy kid. He just sees an opportunity.
Right.
And seizes it to hand her a beer, and then that whole kill is kind of questionable. But, you know, the old one was too, though. I mean, when you've seen Halloween as often as we have, especially, I watched it at like 11 years old. And I'm sure, Travis, you probably saw it when you were young too.
Regular TV, yeah.
When you see him doing the dial M murder, the phone cord murder, as a kid, it's a strangulation.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, there's a sexual element to it that you wouldn't understand in the way that he like is behind her and overpowers her, and the throttling and the noises. And I feel like the zombie version kind of ups that a little bit in the positioning and the strangling grossness. But at least it's like, for a Rob Zombie movie, it's mercifully short. Like, I could imagine a world in which Zombie would take that scene and it's a 5-minute strangulation scene. So thank you.
And like a phone penetration.
Well, I don't know if he would have to get that literal, but it's just hat tip to Rob Zombie for maintaining some subtlety.
Yes.
In one of these scenes, a scene involving full frontal nudity and some rear nudity that is extreme for a R-rated movie.
see. Well, this was unrated.
Oh, that's
I
true.
don't know what the I
That's
don't know
true.
what the theatrical looked like. I've heard that a lot of the things are just cut down a lot.
No, wait,
I
yeah.
can see that.
There was full frontal nudity in the theatrical version because I remember
Okay.
being kind of shocked by that. You know, it's a
Right.
just, you know, in the context of a
it's
kill, you
It's a
generally
Weinstein movie.
don't.
It's a Weinstein movie.
Yeah, and I saw those names in the beginning, and I was like, ick.
So we
Yeah.
didn't talk about
Yeah.
Danielle Harris yet, who plays Annie in this movie. So, kind of an elephant in the room situation. George, did
Clearly,
you
'cause
recommend?
he's looking at the mic.
Did you recognize Annie at all? The lady that played Annie?
Should I have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like,
Remind
I'm
me.
kind of glad you didn't.
Yeah.
Remind me.
What did we just finish watching?
Halloween 6.
4, 5, and 6, which is the Jamie Lloyd trilogy.
Yeah.
Danielle Harris is Jamie Lloyd.
In 4 and
So-
5.
So that is little Jamie grown up, Annie,
Wow.
which is why so many of us had crushes on her.
Oh.
But at the same time,
Okay.
like, I, as someone who came into this franchise
Late, right?
later, right? She's older than me. But
She's my age, so I can say that.
It's just,
Yeah.
I always thought it was pretty gross to be like, hey, you remember that child actor that you haven't seen in
Right.
anything since Halloween 5? Here she is asking to get effed and taking her shirt off. Like,
Yeah, that was when you just told me, that was my first reaction was, ooh.
yeah, it's an ew.
Like, uncomfortableness.
And she's
Yeah.
a great actress. And in Halloween 2, she kind of steals the
But-
movie.
But hold on. But I relate to Travis with other actors, right? So actors that are my age,
Mhm.
right? So, like, for instance, if this was like Mary-Kate or Ashley Olsen, I wouldn't feel weird because I
Right,
was
'cause
a
you
kid
grew up
when
with
they
them.
were a kid.
Right.
Or if it was like Lindsay Lohan. Whatever. She's a child actor.
Right.
I was a child when she was a child. So I feel you there.
I equate it to going to grammar school or middle school with somebody and having a crush on them, and then not seeing them again till college or like at somebody's wedding when you're 25.
Yeah,
and you're like, holy like wow.
I relate to
Yeah.
that, but watching 4, 5, and 6 as a 34-year-old, and then you giving me that
Yeah.
information about this movie,
Yeah.
now I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah, you wouldn't have any of those feelings. Like she was, I don't know how old she was in part 4, but I think I'm like a year or two older than her. So, but I remember her on Roseanne. She played one of the sister's friends.
Yeah, so I mean, I get it. It's
Last
fine.
Boy Scout. Like she had been in other things other than Halloween 5 and 4.
Right.
So I'd seen her grow
She was
up.
on your radar. That's
Right.
fine.
Just like Alyssa Milano. Like I remember her from Who's the Boss, but I watched her. She's my age as well. We all grew up together.
Yeah, I think my concern with it, because again, people grow up and then they have all the right in the world to do whatever they want with their lives. But the thing that I think hangs me up on this is that she's coming back to a franchise she did as a kid.
Right.
You know, so it's not Lindsay Lohan in Machete getting naked in her 20s. It's Lindsay Lohan in a sequel to The Parent Trap, where now she's the mom and she
Right.
has a penetrative sex scene. Right? Like, we don't, you don't need to cross-pollinate these weird, you know, it's just weird to cross-pollinate like sexuality with literal memories of you as a child fresh in all of our minds.
Listen,
Right.
dude, I don't know if there's a comp for this situation.
It would have been better
In
if
life.
Danielle Harris was cast as Laurie,
It would have been awesome if she was Laurie.
Yeah.
because you would get the same feels, because you're like, oh, she was
Mhm.
okay, different trilogy or different
Yeah.
whatever, but it's still my Laurie.
When that's the
Even though-
problem. It's
Yeah.
specifically the sex. And the addition that she's playing Annie, who we all know is, you know, horned up for Paul, but like she doesn't have a sex scene in the original.
Right.
You know, she barely has like a partial nudity as she changes from the popcorn incident. So like you go from a character that has no sex scene to like the most graphic sexual dialogue I've ever heard in a slasher movie.
Right.
Right? Frank, realistic, I'm sure, for some people, but like, you know, these are high school kids.
She became Linda
But Linda wasn't even that forward.
And Linda wasn't even that way. But
Yeah.
this Linda, this Linda was written that way, and then Annie one upped her.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's a crass choice. I would plant my flag in crass and unnecessary. If they'd made her Lori, or if they'd kept Annie similar to the original writing, where she is pursuing a man, but not frankly nude in front of all of us with,
Right.
It's just too Rob Zombie, man. And it's a
Yeah.
detriment to Danielle Harris, who's a great actress. And if George ever does take the time to watch Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie, there are two things you can look forward to, and one of them is how great Danielle Harris is at carrying the movie.
Yep. What's funny is did you ever see The Last Boy Scout?
Is that the
To
one
me?
with Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans.
Yeah, Punt Return from Hell.
Danielle Harris
Yeah.
plays Bruce Willis's estranged daughter. She's like 13 in that movie. So she's not much older than she was in Halloween 5.
Mm-hmm.
And she's disgruntled as shit, and she's dropping F-bombs. She's calling him a fucking asshole and all these different things, and it's like exactly what you're talking about. But wasn't she just like wholesome Jamie Lloyd, and now
Yeah.
she's dropping F-bombs in a Bruce Willis movie?
Well, she's an actor.
Yeah.
Actress.
So it
She's
was
an
more
actress.
gradual for me. It wasn't like, oh, there she is in Halloween, the remake.
Yeah. Well, anyway, can we talk
I
about
hear you.
masks?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. You mean when
Let's
they...
just talk about the Myers in general, because
Okay.
Taylor Maines,
So
there's like 5
I want
Myers
to talk
in this movie.
specifically about masks.
Okay.
There's 2 mask points I want to hit. Do we like Michael Myers'
Obsession?
obsession with masks?
No.
Me neither. Okay. Is the mask, the Myers mask, the real, like the Myers mask that we
Mhm.
know, the white mask,
The final mask.
is it too perfect? I feel like it's definitely too perfect at times. I feel like he picks it up and it's like
very stylized.
it's like a rubbery mask and it's fine. And then like the camera changes and it's like a perfect, like angelic looking
Yeah.
thing. And I know he the director is shooting it like this on purpose. Like he wants to get that mask
Yeah.
right. He wants to get it perfect. And I'm kind of like, it was stolen from a store and it's just a mask.
Not this one, though.
Not this one.
Well,
This one has a lot more history to it, which also bothered me.
okay, not this one, but I'm talking like from the original.
Oh, okay. From the
It's just
it's just
a
a
mask.
hardware store mask.
it's
right.
just a Halloween mask.
Mhm.
It could have been anything,
Yes.
but it's
It almost was.
a white spray painted Captain Kirk mask. Like that's
Mhm.
what it is. And this mask was just when he's holding it, when he's wearing it, just the aura of it was kind of like maybe it's too forward, maybe it's too in the front. Like the
Right.
mask is like,
Well,
you know,
they kind of suffer throughout the movie once he gets to Haddonfield, because they show him following the girls. And again, it's broad daylight. They're missing the nuance of the original, just like we talked about with part 6. Oh, I could see your feet. Like
yeah,
there's no subtlety to his movement in the broad daylight. Like in the original, he, even though it was daytime, he was still in the shadows. He was still blending. It wasn't like, to me, Tyler Mane is like 6'9". He's a wrestler. Like
Mhm.
he's not hiding behind anything. And he's walking around with a stylized mask, which I remember seeing the trailer, and I was just as mad then as I was when they did the remake of Texas Chainsaw, because I was like, it looks really good. The movie looks good. Jessica Biel looks good. Everything about this remake, I'm saying yes. But that leather face mask, it looks like it was sculpted in a special effects
it's
lab.
so perfect.
And it's contoured and it fits too perfectly.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So it threw me off a little bit. Like the mask, the lore of the original Texas Chainsaw was it looked like somebody's face was peeled and it was put on Gunnar Hansen's face.
Yeah.
It didn't fit perfectly. His lips showed sometimes. Like it wasn't a movie mask.
Yeah.
This Myers mask is a movie studio version of the Kirk mask.
That's how I feel.
And that bothered me.
Yeah.
Put on a wrestler.
Yeah. He was massive.
Yes.
Which is I feel like I liked Myers in this. It was good. He wasn't too slow. He wasn't too fast. He was very strong and intimidating and brutal.
Yeah.
So, I like all those things. I'm not used to having a massive,
This is like if Jason and Leatherface had a child.
yeah, like this dude dude's
huge.
enormous.
Yeah.
Which is not, I mean, I thought that Michael Myers was just kind of stickly.
He's an everyday guy.
Yeah.
And the bigger you make him, the more he's Jason.
Right.
And even Jason doesn't have to be hulking. Like, this dude looked like he was going to, take his coveralls off midway down and he was going to have a six-pack. Like, I don't need to see six-pack Michael.
This dude looks like an offensive lineman.
He looks like
he's looked like a tight end is what he looks like.
He's huge, but he takes up the screen. He's not hiding anywhere.
Right.
And all the iconic scenes in the original, like the hedges and the clothesline, the sheets on the clothesline.
Yeah.
And the hiding by the station wagon. Like all those things, standing by the window, when Tommy looks out the window and he's standing, you see a silhouette. He's a shape. He's not the fucking screen.
Right.
And it takes it away because the way it's shot, it's not shot in that grand, ratio that Carpenter shot it in. Because Carpenter was like, I'm gonna shoot everything I shoot, it's gonna be wide, and he could be somewhere in every frame.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it was like, I'm gonna shoot it beautifully, but you're gonna know where the fuck Myers is. He's right there.
Yeah.
And the one time it's subtle, it's one of the movement through the house scenes. When Myers is in the background as the camera pans past him, they put in a little extra music sting just in case you missed it. Oh, that was weird. It's
not necessary. Yeah, it's like someone stepped on a cat's tail or something.
Very strange. Oh, but not as strange as when Michael the child pops up with the Myers mask on before he kills Judith.
Hated that too.
There's even a music sting there that you're supposed to be like, oh my god, and instead I just laughed. Oops, that didn't go well. I do like that scene though where you kind of expect it to switch to the first person perspective and they just don't bother. At the beginning when you'd expect him to have a rehash of Carpenter's thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting because we always talk about, they shouldn't have blown the reveal in the trailer that it was a kid. Well, we've had 40 years of reveals by now, so everybody knows. So why even bother going to first person?
Right.
And it's kind of like the fundamental in this movie. It's a fundamentally different perspective for us, the viewer. And that's not bad or good. It's a choice that he made and stuck with for the most part. Did you notice the one first person shot in the murder of Judith?
Yes.
I didn't. No.
It's when she's laying on the bed and he's looking at her ass.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's because even Rob Zombie's not going to let a 10-year-old boy see a naked lady. And so that's the one scene that you didn't need it, but Zombie wanted it. Zombie gets his butt shot, but he made it a point to make it from the perspective of Myers, so you don't have to have a kid in the same room as a naked bottom. So,
Kudos. I didn't notice that, but now I respect it. Thank you for pointing that out. That's why I come back every week.
That's why we do the podcast, so I can tell you how we protect children from butts.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's important.
It is important. I don't know.
But they didn't protect that child actor from murdering multiple people, so
no.
Well,
hopefully
you can only do so much.
Hopefully that all worked out great.
But in the end, I think everything I liked about the remake of Friday the 13th, because they did pretty much the same formula, I liked it in Friday 13th. I did not like it in this. Maybe it's because Halloween is more near and dear. But like you said, the stylization, the cropped shots of him like Macbething his mask, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I remember in the Friday 13th remake, I said, his retrieval of the hockey mask was not explained. Like, at least in the part 3, they show Shelley walking around with this mask. He's pranking with it. It explains why it's there.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it's like, we need a hockey mask. How do we get him a hockey mask? Oh, well, let's just put it on the wall.
Yeah.
And then when he looks, he puts it on, and like, it's the same thing. It's almost like the lady in the lake threw it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he puts it on like it's Excalibur. Like, to me, I don't like that shit. The charm of it in the original is that it, like you said, could have been a mistake and became something big, like the head tilt.
Well, but that's the
Yeah.
difference between making new art and trying to remake art that we already love.
Yeah, but I'll bring it up again. I always bring it up. The remake of King Kong.
Mm.
Peter Jackson, one of the biggest King Kong fans ever, besides me, gets the nod 5 years after he wanted to remake King Kong.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the opportunity and he's like, okay, I'm going to make a 3-hour movie. I'm going to do 1 hour in New York, 1 hour on Skull Island, 1 hour in New York. And I'm going to tell the shit out of the story, and I'm going to character develop my ass off. Everything is missing from the original. But then he took the original and he said, okay, I'm going to take everything I love about the original and put it in this movie as an homage, but I'm not going to, when I'm telling my story, I'm not going to remake anything. But when I do, you're going to know it. T-Rex fight. The spider pit. Like, all these different things that he said, I have to get this right because all the fans are watching me. And if I don't do the chest pounding after the T-Rex fight,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't do the jaw breaking,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't do, and screaming, like if I don't do all these things, the fans are going to hate me. So I have to put it in there. But I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm going to make it a choice. And it's going to be, in my mind, better than the original, even though I know it's not. And that's the approach that Zombie did not take.
That movie, the King Kong remake, is I saw it before we ever started this podcast, and it was my favorite movie I had ever seen for a while.
Right.
That movie is,
And it is, even
it's
without
lacking-
knowing.
it's lacking nothing, and it doesn't have anything like that it doesn't need. It's
There's
so-
one thing that movie does not need, and one, if we ever do the original Kong and we talk about it, I think the Central Park stuff didn't need to be in there. But other than that, it's a perfect movie. The flirting scene before the army gets there,
okay.
in the park. Like, to me, that wasn't necessary, but it was
Yeah.
it was a CGI porn, and it's fine.
CGI porn. Well, we were in that era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after you see 3 T-Rexes fighting Kong and
It's
he
like,
kills one with a boulder, you don't need any more CGI porn. It's all done.
That's true.
We're good.
But you needed the you needed the waking up in the canoe. Before the Jason's, coming out of the water.
What, in this?
Yeah. No. In King Kong.
Right.
Like, you needed
Yeah,
the,
you needed that,
you needed
that lull
the,
before the
lull,
crazy happened.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. It draws you in. It's like, everything's going to be okay. See?
Right.
Everything's great. Except, no, it's not.
Except not.
Here's the
yeah.
army.
But with this, I think Zombie never cared that much. I don't know if he probably is a fan. I just don't know if he cared enough about the other Halloween fans to take those little snippets, those needed moments. It's like making A Few Good Men and not having You Can't Handle the Truth in the scene.
Yeah, I think that when Peter Jackson did King Kong, it was about the movie. It was about the story. It was about King Kong.
Yeah.
It wasn't about Peter Jackson.
No.
And I feel like this movie is a lot about Rob Zombie. And
And you would be probably correct.
and not about Mike Myers.
But I think he wanted to do it justice. I'm not sure he cared that much about the original scenes being remade to do them right. You can tell because he kind of fumbles through the Ghost Bob scene.
Yeah.
And he fumbles through every scene with Loomis. And he gives you a shitty Laurie.
Yeah.
And to me, and then he takes an iconic pre-trilogy character or actress and really gives her not that much to crow about as a fan of Halloween. Be like, oh, well, she's in it, but she's
Yeah.
Like, to me, I don't think the care was given. It might have been a Weinstein issue. I don't know. Maybe they didn't care enough.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't their franchise. But we don't know how much the studio was involved in this.
So much screaming in this.
Yeah.
A lot of
that whole
screaming.
pool scene? Ugh.
There was just an immense amount of screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, and in the original, there's screaming, but like, there's a lot of like, Michael Myers is
But
here.
it's necessary.
I have to be like quiet, like hiding in the closet or just like, just that suspense. Like you don't know where he is, and just like, in the original, there was, she runs over to the neighbor's house, she bangs on the door, and she's screaming for help, blah, blah, blah. But it gets to a point where she's like, okay, I'm on my own, and I need to be smart, and
yeah, she quiets down a bit,
and she turns into kind of she decides to be more tactical, and that never happened in this movie.
No, and even at the end, like that was the boogeyman type scene.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed forced. Like, again, because I didn't give two shits about the Loomis character. And I really didn't care much about Laurie.
Oh, and also, that's not how revolvers work. But just to top it all off at the end.
See. And I didn't like the pool scene. I wasn't really...
Yeah, there's
sure
not a
why
lot
that was
of
added.
pools like that. It doesn't seem congruent with the Haddonfield neighborhood. Unless Haddonfield is actually, in... California, Pasadena land.
I imagine there's plenty of in-ground pools in actual Haddonfield.
I don't know. Are they going to be that bone dry that early in the fall?
No,
I just don't think so.
No, they will not be, unless they're in a dilapidated version of Haddonfield, which it seems like this movie was.
Yeah.
But then if they were that dilapidated, they'd have pooling water from the rain.
I was waiting for some dead bodies coming out of that pool.
Yeah.
They moved the headstones. I really enjoyed Dee Wallace Stone as Laurie's mother, and the scene where Myers goes into the Strode house. like he just totally picks off the dad.
Yeah.
In mid stride, he's like if Bigfoot were to walk into your house, like he just grabbed him halfway through the door.
Yep.
And then, like, scared the shit out of her if you want a screamer in a movie, it's Dee Wallace. Like, she's Jamie Lee Curtis caliber scream queen, way more than the girl playing Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just has that blood curdling scream that she does in every movie she's in. I was a fan. I wanted her to become Laurie halfway. I'm like, can she just be Laurie?
Is it just me, or did Michael Myers' mother seem like have a resemblance to Jamie Lee Curtis? Is that just me?
She would probably love you for that.
Yeah, that might just be you. That's Rob Zombie's wife. She gets to be in all the movies. She's actually a decent actress.
Right?
I liked her in this movie.
She's good in this.
But
she reminds me of Jamie Lee Curtis a little bit, and I'm like, what is going on here? With like, she's, just I don't know.
That's his wife. She's the Bruce Campbell to his Sam Raimi. She's in everything he does.
I do really love the Dee Wallace dialogue when Laurie gets home from school, and she's like, I am still just not happy about that bagel joke. Like, me neither. I'm on the same page with you, Dee Wallace. That was upsetting. I didn't need that.
Yeah.
I think it is stupid that Michael Myers kills the Strodes because Detective Michael Myers has somehow used his psychic link with Boo, his baby sister, to derive the fact that she's been adopted by this family and they must pay. Like that, it's
Yeah.
anything having
And
to
he
do
was-
with him and the sister and knowing she's the sister this early with the picture. I forget that it's even in the movie because it's so stupid. It doesn't even register in my hate it category. It falls out of my brain.
And he teleports. Like
Okay,
he's
so-
at Annie's window, then he's at the Strode house killing the Strodes, and then he's at a pool. Like he doesn't even have a car, but he's everywhere.
He's the boogeyman.
That's
So so another thing that is consistent in this movie with the first is that there is no reason why he has to kill his sister. That's never explained.
Right.
And in this movie, it is also not explained. Why are we killing our sister?
Right.
Please tell me. Why does it have to be the
they
family?
Don't even, you can barely hear them call that baby in the beginning Lori. Like you don't.
I
even,
don't think they even do.
No, they
I
call her
think
Boo.
They call her Boo.
Boo. Baby Boo.
You don't even know if that baby's a boy or a girl in
That's
the
true.
beginning.
Although any Halloween fan's going to know, oh, there's a baby in the house. That must be Laurie Strode.
That's true.
But it
Right.
doesn't make any sense for him
fan
to,
service.
in one scene, like, want to be close to Boo, but then also he's still trying to kill Boo. And, like,
Yeah, what
It's
happened? Why does he
inconsistent
want to
character.
kill Boo
is
now?
it because she stabbed him?
Thorn.
Because he stabs everybody, and he should be used to that by now.
Thorn.
Yeah, it could be Thorn.
Because Ant-Man said so.
Unstated Thorn.
Thorn.
Serious question about this movie, more important even than the Thorn question. Guys, how the living hell did Rush end up on this soundtrack?
I didn't mind that.
I love Rush, but they deserve
love
better
Rush,
than
too.
this movie.
They
Yeah.
did fit in some Don't Fear the Reaper though, which tends to pop up in every Dimension film.
Well, and you know,
Yeah.
it's from the original, so we have to have it, but I don't know. I didn't like the way that they implemented Don't Fear the Reaper, I think because they used it twice.
Right.
I think the first time, the way it's implemented in that scene, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, okay, we're doing that. But then when it pops up again later, I'm like, oh, master of subtlety, Rob Zombie, like...
You know what's sad? Like he's so into himself that do you see anything you like line? He wasted it. Like he was so busy being him that he didn't even let that any of those one-liners kind of marinate a little bit. Like he shoots it from far away and there's no sexiness to it. Like when PJ does it, she just has like a playfulness
Mm-hmm.
that is completely missing in this movie. There's no playfulness with any character.
Yeah.
But even though she's the fast character in the original and she's the one, you know, hungry and sex crazy,
I get it.
she's still kind of playful about it. And the way Zombie shoots that scene, you've already seen that he killed Bob as a ghost. So you already know that Myers is the ghost without any mystery. Like in the original, he is the ghost. You know it's Myers.
Yeah.
But you're not really sure what the fuck he's up to.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, okay, why is he dressed like that? He's standing in the door. He's not moving. She's talking to him. Like it's just, again, nuance. And
Yeah. In the original, it was kind of like playful.
he doesn't move until she stands up and says, "This is going nowhere." Like
Yeah.
she starts using the phone, and then he starts walking towards her.
Yeah. And
This
then
one, he hands her a beer.
Yeah.
Like,
in
it's
this,
just like,
it's like she says it like.
see anything you like? Does she even say go get? She does say go get me a beer.
She
but
does. But in this one, she delivers that line. You see anything you like she's in like a porno or like
She's
or like
it's like she's in a grocery store and there's a sale rack and she's in a hurry, but she wants to give her child a chance to pick one thing off the shelf.
right.
Just, you see anything you like? Okay, let's
Right.
keep moving. And that, I think, is the problem. As we talk about this movie more, there is an inspired Rob Zombie who's here to make a violent white trash, trailer trash, murder thriller slasher hostile movie.
Right.
And then there's Rob Zombie begrudgingly doing his homework by allowing characters to say lines that we recognize, but not giving them any kind of credence probably because he's trying to make it his own thing. He doesn't want to tribute the original, but Weinstein or Akkad or somebody is on his butt about saying, hey, you are remaking Halloween, so here's the dialogue parts we want in this movie. And so he's begrudgingly putting them in, but intentionally downplaying them consistently to the point that it's like, why did we even bother?
Right. And I think Loomis suffers the most with that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, why did we even bother, and is this even Halloween?
But then it's so Halloween.
Actually,
in parts.
that sums up this movie pretty well. Why did we even bother, and is this even Halloween?
Yeah.
Some of it is Halloween.
And part of it, I want to say,
tries.
does Rob Zombie like the movie Halloween? Like,
I'm not sure.
Honest question. Because
I think
at times,
Rob Zombie
I
likes
wonder.
Rob Zombie. I think Rob Zombie likes Rob Zombie.
Well, at least the director of Part 6 openly stated he had never seen a Halloween movie before.
Well, he should have been fired.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
easy
don't-
to find DVDs back then. You had to
Yeah.
buy a videotape from a rental store.
So I don't know if Rob Zombie was... I'm assuming he was a fan. Why else would he remake it? He just remade The Munsters, and he's been a Munsters fan since he was a kid. I don't know if he... I haven't seen it yet.
I
so
wonder how angsty it is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he handles something that's so precious to him.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, because I've heard some very negative things, but I haven't seen it yet, so I shouldn't prejudge.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's just like I've seen what Peter Jackson did with his baby. I've seen what Spielberg did with his babies, and I've seen. I'm hoping Rob Zombie knows what to do with his baby, but from what I've seen, I don't
We'll
think he does.
see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you might rather watch Halloween 2 than that. Man, now I kind of want to watch Halloween 2 again, just to see how shitty it is. I remember hating it, but that was the theatrical cut. Maybe the unrated is better. I'm not going to watch Halloween 2. Spoiler alert. I'm not.
Oh, we're not doing that next week?
God, no. I would quit the podcast at that point.
George is already has his letter of resignation.
And it's just full of F words because he wrote it while he was watching this movie.
Right. And apparently Aaron's quitting too, so.
Yeah.
Do you know how I would fix this movie? We haven't done a Dan Fixes
Yes.
It in a long time. And I think I could actually do it if I had Adobe Premiere and maybe access to the original Halloween, the stems, what do you call them in movies? Like if I had the actual production files and I was allowed to...
The negatives?
Well, nothing's negative anymore. If I had the original in Adobe Premiere production version of this movie so I could move music around and stuff. Here's what you do. You start the movie with him doing the cockeyed stare at the dead guard. So you've skipped all of the beginning part.
Right.
He is escaping. You've done your intro credits. You do your it's Halloween. You do scary face, dead body, siren going off. He leaves the hospital. And then when you get to Loomis finding out that he's escaped, you do a couple of hard cuts to very select snippets of him talking to little kid Myers, a little bit of little kid Myers murdering that kid in the woods, and then somewhere sprinkled in you do just flashes of him stabbing Judith Myers. And that is all you use from the first half hour. And then I think it's a really good Halloween remake, and you just cut out the picture part. I mean, this is doable. Give me good software and a good computer, and I could probably make you that movie.
The green cut.
The green cut.
I think that the green cut is better. But you still have Laurie being a big turd.
Well, it's still Rob Zombie's movie, right? Like it's just filtering what he gave us into something that I would not hate to watch. Because the first half hour of this movie is unpleasant. And not like, ooh, it's so scary. It's more just like bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. And I still think that kid being killed, that bully being killed, doesn't matter if he's a bully or not. It's scarier if he's not.
Yeah, I would cut out the part where he bullies Myers. I would just cut to Myers murdering a kid. And then it's just like, oh, this Myers is bad.
This kid means business. Like, we have no. To me, you sympathize with him when you add all that shit in.
Yeah, and
I feel
show
bad
less.
for him.
I don't like the part where he kills the nurse. I feel like it's almost like you're like, yeah, she was mean to you. That's
Well,
not
apparently
the
in
Myers
the
you want.
theatrical release, she doesn't say that line about him being ugly.
Yeah.
So in the theatrical, the kill of the nurse is a lot quicker and a lot more uncalled for.
The theatrical cut of this movie is pretty good compared to the unrated.
Well,
cut.
it is, but it still has that beginning bullshit.
Well, but it doesn't have the stupid rape scene. I hate the rape scene.
Right. No, you get Bill Moseley, another horror icon.
Wait, who's Bill Moseley?
He's in every zombie movie, but he plays, I think, a guard.
Is he the guard that's nice to Myers?
No, that's
was in-
Machete. That's
Danny
He
Trejo.
was in.
Danny Trejo.
Was he in
Yes.
From Dusk to Dawn?
Yes.
And was he in that motorcycle show? That's such.
Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, wasn't he in Sons at some point?
He might have been.
He was on Sons of Anarchy. He played
Sons of
Romeo Parada.
Yeah,
There you go.
I like him.
No,
Oh, we
he's
love him.
wonderful. He's like the
yes.
coolest dude.
I love him. And
And he doesn't text, from what I understand.
He was just on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So he's been around.
so I liked his style.
Mhm.
He was much like a Barney.
Yeah, and when he says,
Yeah.
I was good to you when he's being drowned. Like, he's right. He was good. He should have spared him. He should have said, thanks for the candy.
But he's Michael Myers. So
The funny thing is, it's 15 years out from when this came to theaters. And today is probably the first time since I saw it in theaters that I actually made it through this entire movie. And because I've had that distance, in my head, I hate this fucking movie. Like, big pile of trash, hate this movie.
It's a dumpster fire.
But really, if you get past the first 30 minutes, you get to a lot of good, happy place feelings there for a little while. So I guess I don't hate this movie.
You just hate the beginning.
Can't watch the first half hour without just wishing I wasn't watching it. Like, legit, my first note was 1 minute and 30 seconds in, and I regret watching this. That's not a lot of time to establish yourself.
Was it Loomis's hipster haircut?
No, I like that. That's fine. That's just Rob Zombie being Rob Zombie. I hate everything William Forsythe says to his girlfriend, to Zombie's
Oh
wife.
my God. It's terrible.
It's just like, I'm sure there are
So
people that
uncalled
treat
for.
each other like this. I don't watch movies that feature them because I don't want to see that. And it's not scary. It's just unpleasant,
It's sad. It makes you sad.
Yeah. Treat people better. And then stab them.
See, I have a different take because my issues with this movie are what you're talking about, but more or less the non-respect to the source material. And that I can't get past because that's throughout the whole movie.
It's tough, though, because it's like, if you really want to be that close to the source material, just watch the first one again.
No, I enjoy remakes when they're done right. I love The Thing. I love the King Kong remake. I love the Twilight Zone movie, which remakes a bunch of skits from the original TV show. Like, to me, if it's done with respect, even if they don't say it exactly, but even if they do a different twist on a line or whatever, if it's done with the homage feel, then I'm fine with it. It's when it's, like I said, delivered as if we have to.
Yeah, the homework.
You're not doing the character study. Like, I read that Malcolm McDowell did not watch any Halloween movies. He had no frame of reference for Loomis. Purposely, which I understand as an actor, you don't want to be influenced. But if you're doing a movie about Frank Sinatra, you better watch a fucking Frank Sinatra movie.
Well, and you can do it without watching a Halloween. If you want to be that guy, if you want to be an original take, you can do that, and you can not watch the originals, and you can take it your own direction. But you've really got to fucking nail it. Like, you've got to give it enough that it looks like you tried. And a lot of times in this movie, it looks like he's just saying the line because the teacher said so, and then he can go home.
And it's also the director's job to say, okay, I know you don't want to see Pleasance's performance because you don't want to be influenced, but I'm going to give you some notes about this character.
Right.
This is his drive. This is why he's driven. These are the experiences he had with an 8-year-old boy that put him in basically PTSD.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's a director can say that without showing footage.
Now,
And then-
you're going to shoot him 7 times, but you're going to swear you shot him 6. Trust me, it's just a thing we do.
No, in this movie, he's going to load 3 bullets into his chamber, then leave 2 empty,
And then 1 more
1 more.
for drama.
But it's Malcolm fucking McDowell. Like, the dude from Clockwork Orange. He understands character study.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
He
Caligula.
understands
Like, come on.
delivery of lines. Like, the lines he delivers in Clockwork Orange make that movie.
Yeah.
He takes what's on the page and he kills it.
Yeah.
And
But he also has Kubrick.
exactly, a director giving him direction. But again, when you show up in a play, on a TV set, or a TV show set, or in a movie set, actors expect you to be prepared. And prepared doesn't mean just learn your lines. Prepared means listen to what I said and react to it.
Yeah.
Have what you are supposed to say, and it might change based on what I say. Like, that's being prepared. And I don't think any of the people in this movie were prepared at all.
Yeah.
I think Tyler Mane was probably doing some of the best acting in this movie.
Well, I think that you guys convinced me that this movie is worse than I originally thought. So,
That's like backwards from how we normally do it.
yeah.
Why do you like this movie? We're going to take that. Flip that on its ace. But I understand what you're saying. There are good things about this movie, but they're not saving graces.
No.
And I came out of the theater liking this movie more than I ever did again until today. So, I would expect over the next few years, as you think back to watching this movie, you're like, oh yeah, that movie did suck. What was I thinking? And then later
Yeah.
you'll remember, hey, there's some good stuff in the middle, bookended by a bunch of bullshit.
Right. But what's going to make you hate this movie more is your love of the original. And then when you hear people that have not seen the original or don't like the original, and they talk about how this movie is their quintessential Halloween movie. And it makes you want to steal a bus. Like, I'm just like, are you kidding? I saw a comment today online. Someone was talking about this movie, and they were like, it's my favorite Halloween movie. Rob Zombie's a genius. Like, there's Rob Zombie fans, there's Zack Snyder fans. They're the same people. Like,
yeah.
they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Just like when we talk about Kubrick, like, people think Kubrick can do no wrong.
No, I mean Kubrick
Spielberg can
actually
do no
can't.
wrong.
Kubrick and Spielberg actually can't do wrong. So,
They have. But yeah, this movie is not the quintessential.
No,
Halloween. I think
absolutely
Halloween
not.
4 is probably better than this. But
yeah, maybe.
What makes this movie maybe better than 4 is the caliber of actors that are in this movie. And like Dan said, there's a lot of feels when you see these people because they've been in all your favorite movies.
yeah.
So you can kind of get past some of the bullshit. I don't know.
Well, what's next on the agenda?
Oh boy, where do we go from here? Actually, I think George probably knows where we're going.
Where are we?
No, I don't. If we're not watching 2.
Yeah, we're definitely
The Zombie
watching two.
2.
Yeah, we're not going to watch Zombie 2. You're welcome to watch that on your own time and report back, but
I do have that if you want to borrow it.
Man, no thanks.
it's
I got it.
interesting.
It's
You know what
set.
you could do is you could first time watch it with the commentary on and just forget your actual first viewing. That would be funny. No, our next movie, and I'm super excited for this because we've been basically cycling toward this for 2 years now. 3 years
Yes.
now? How long have
3
we been
years.
doing this show? 2020. This is our, okay, cool.
This is our 2-year anniversary, October 10th, I believe.
13th, but we're getting
13th.
close. October 13th will be our second anniversary. Oh my gosh.
Is the 13th the day we release the episode?
Yes, we've been recording
probably-
since June of 20, so.
Right. Yeah, we had a few in the can before we went live.
Really?
Yeah, we Netflixed the whole first season. Just dropped all 10.
We dropped the whole season.
I forgot about that.
It was
Yeah, we've been doing this for a minute.
No
Bold
one
statement.
has still gone to listen to Stand By Me. There's like 3 listens. It's fine.
and those are all Travis. So, George, we are going to go
It's a good movie.
after we made you rewatch Halloween, and then a couple of weeks later we had you watch Rob Zombie's Halloween. It's only fitting that the next movie you watch is Halloween.
That's true.
So do that. Watch Halloween. That's our next movie.
The original?
Oh, excuse me. I forgot to mention Halloween 2018.
2018.
Oh.
Also called Halloween, confusingly.
What the frig?
You can't call it like
the frig is going on with this franchise?
Samhain.
Yeah. So Halloween 2018.
Samhain.
We're not going to tell you a lot about it, except that my cousin David Gordon directed it. I'm kidding, but like if you see pictures of us, we might be related. That'd be kind of cool. But so David Gordon Green and Company did Halloween 2018. It is a direct sequel to the original Halloween. So we're entering a new timeline completely.
This is Earth 616.
Wait, say that again.
So Halloween, the original, begat Halloween 2, which eventually skipped a bunch and went straight to Halloween H2O retroactively. But then also Halloween to Halloween 2 to Halloween 4 is a second timeline that goes through 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 kind of.
Yep.
Forget everything you know about Halloween except for the first one.
So this timeline goes from Halloween
directly from the fall off the balcony.
Yep, to Halloween 2018.
Yes. 78 to 18. Everything else is in the dumpster bin, including my beloved Halloween 3. But really, are you other than Halloween 3, which is so wonderful, are you going to miss any of those other movies? We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, H2O was good. Trick or treat,
depends.
motherfucker. Like,
listen,
Resurrection
if this movie is good, maybe I do forget about everything else.
Do you guys think it's funny that after having watched all these, Resurrection is climbing my list of Halloween movies instead of going down?
It ages well.
I mean, compared to 4, 5, and 6, it does. Oh my God.
That should be the subhead. Halloween 7? Is that what it is? 8.
8.
Halloween 8. Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Or is it surprise, motherfucker? I don't remember.
Surprise, supplies, motherfucker. Some fries, motherfucker.
Supplies. He opens up a supply cabinet and he's like, I got markers. I got highlighters. I got supplies, motherfucker.
Some fries, motherfucker.
Forget the
These
onion
guys,
rings.
motherfucker.
He's
I
got
love that
some
guy.
fries. Oh my God.
Shit.
So spoiler alert, no Busta Rhymes in
Busta.
Halloween 2018. But I'm really excited to talk about it. I mean, we made you watch a bunch of shitty Halloween movies, mostly because I want you to understand how good we have it now with this trilogy.
Yeah, Blumhouse doing the work.
Yes.
Let's put it that way.
Or you might hate it, and then we'll just have to see.
Yeah. Or save it for the pod for Halloween Kills.
So we've got it timed out to where, October 5th, we're entering October. October 5th will be Halloween 2018. The 12th will be Halloween Kills. And then on the 14th, when it launches, you'll be ready to watch Halloween Ends. And we'll talk about it the following Wednesday, the 19th.
It'll only be the second modern, to this day, movie that we've done on the show. We did the Batman.
The Batman is the other, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't even have to go to the theater. You can watch it on Peacock. And we'll be talking about it on October 19th. That's when the episode will launch.
Nice.
Guys, that's Michael Myers' birthday.
Nice.
Happy
Wow.
birthday, Michael. Halloween
Couldn't
ends.
have planned that better.
Once in a while I do something. What's up?
Hey.
And then the following week, I mean, shoot, we know our whole October schedule. It's not a secret. After we do Halloween Ends, we'll circle back to the 78 Halloween with Mini Megs.
Nice.
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be so much fun, too. So, guys, September was kind of shit, but we are going full cylinders for the rest of the October fall break.
You know why rewatching the original Halloween with Mini Megs is going to be fun for me?
Why?
Because
you're now an expert.
Well, I'm not an expert at anything.
Kind of.
But I have like a sort of nostalgia about this movie, like you guys do.
Yeah.
And we did, we did the mini Megs thing for Halloween. What was it? 6, 5?
5.
And me and her both watched this movie for the first time
Mm-hmm.
and had very different opinions. Now I'm going to actually get to share my nostalgia for a movie with a first time watcher.
And
that's exciting to me.
What's more exciting that you should be more excited about is if she loves it, you did that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me feel good about this show.
Yeah.
It's what keeps us coming back.
Like I did with RoboCop.
Because there are movies that you now love that you have never seen before.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this.
It's wonderful.
I like it.
Well, I guess I should thank the listeners.
You should thank the listeners. And look, you didn't even have to be
Yes.
told.
No, it's true because the listeners are great. That's why we do it.
We just hit 800 subscribers on YouTube.
800
800
subs.
On YouTube. Tell everyone. Get us to 1,000. Call your mom.
Numbers.
We're going to have to start doing actual video
Okay.
content at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably create a second account and like us again.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe,
Shoot.
comment.
The hell?
Comment. Oh, comment, guys. Daniel Perez holding it down in
Yes.
the comments, always entertaining me with his comments. And then occasionally Russians popping up saying, "This is not movie, this is bullshit," when they try to watch Basic Instinct. But they do it in Russian, so I have to translate it first. But that's been fun. Sorry
Wait,
to
do
my...
do that accent again.
Oh, this is not movie, this is bullshit.
That's like some kind of Rambo 3 bullshit that you just did there.
I don't know. I think I learned my Russian accent from Red Alert 2.
From Red Dawn. Wolverines!
He learned Russian from watching all the Police Academy movies.
Right.
Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod. You can also find us on Twitter at remedialfilmpod. We'll be back next week with Halloween 2018. As we continue the fall break, we're getting off the shit movie highway and taking the off-ramp directly to good movies again.
Speaking of that, Dan had said he watched part 2, and he's big fan.
Oh
So
yeah,
I have
Police
to
Academy
at some
2,
point.
way better than the first one. The subtitle to Police Academy 2 could easily be, "Oh, this is what this movie's going to be."
Yeah.
Because they actually wrote the
good
movie
stuff.
that they were making instead of a different movie and then adapting it. Still not great, you know.
No, it's
but
80s good.
Colleen Camp with a 357 is my kind of movie, it turns out.
Yes. Don't move, dirtbag.
Sounds good.
Oh my God. Happy Halloween, everybody. Motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers.
Supplies.
Supplies, motherfucker. These fries, motherfucker.
It's so funny, too, because you come off of any of the Buster Rhymes motherfuckers, and it's so silly and stupid. And at the time, I probably hated it, or would have hated it if I was watching that movie currently. But then you go through all the Rob Zombie, motherfuckers, and I miss the Buster Rhymes motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's a subtle difference, but it's there and important.
Speaking of that subtlety, the original is
Yeah.
just the hole where Judith's headstone was. This, a dismembered friggin' dog, some kind of Illuminati witchcraft, crucifix. It's really? Is Myers really doing that? You didn't notice that? It's so much more subtle and meaningful to have an empty hole where the tombstone was.
Yeah.
And the bottom of the frame is this face of this dog,
Yeah.
stuffed dog that's twisted and contorted into a star. I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
That could have been the subtitle to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Rob Zombie, Halloween. Not feeling it.
Not
Not
feeling it.
feeling it.
Rob, you should have stopped.
Now, you guys remember what I told John Carpenter we should do, he and I, when they finish up the David Gordon Green trilogy. and that is just to give good directors full license to
Yes.
remake Halloween. And that way we're not kidding around anymore with these 4 and 5 and 6 just shit sequels. Let's just remake the one we're all trying to make anyway, but with the flair of the director. And I'll tell you, if you do 4 or 5 more of those, you know, your Jordan Peele, your Kevin Smith, your Daniel Green, all these guys, get them out there to make their Halloweens. Then I think if you look back at Rob Zombie's in that context, it'll suck even less. Because you'll be like, yeah, that's just Rob Zombie making
It's
Halloween.
his take.
That's true.
It's no longer...
I would like to see a Tim Burton Halloween.
Tim Burton Halloween. I mean, that's the thing. When one director gets to remake Halloween, it's shitty if it's not perfect. But if all these directors get a remake Halloween, everybody gains a little bit more creative license and a little bit more benefit of the doubt because it is now more their vision. And I think if you do that in that context, what we watched tonight, a little better.
I hear you.
But they haven't done that yet, so it still sucks as of this time.
As of right now, it sucks.
What's funny is that's
It may not in the future.
essentially what happens with any play. Like when MTI has the rights to a play, they own the rights. And then if you're in Shawnee High School or if you're a whatever theater, you purchase those rights for to rehearse for 2 months and then put on a weekend or two of that production. You could do Grease. You can do it exactly like the movie. You can do your own version of Grease. The words are there, but you can do the show you want to do. That's essentially what I want for Halloween. So I'm on board for all that. I think that would be awesome. Every year you get someone's new take on this character.
Can it be done in a year?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would love to see someone shoot this movie on an iPhone.
Yeah, have the guys that make VHS. Have those guys do Halloween. That'd be awesome.
The guy that made Cloverfield, I'd like to see his version of Halloween.
Yeah, and then, you have your very basic rules. It has to be called Halloween. It has to have a character named Michael Myers in it. I don't even know if you need that rule. But, just give me, and just under the understanding that these are all remakes of that movie from 78 that we all love. It'd be awesome.
I'm down. It would be awesome. Damn.
I better call John.
You're number 14 of this hour to talk to him.
Friend of the show.
He'll remember.
You have 7 minutes.
He'll be like, wait, who's this? Oh, that guy. Nope. Click.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Damn it.
How are things down there in Kansas City?
Hey, Kansas City, place where Halloween debuted back in 78. He didn't know that, but I knew that. That's it. He didn't need to know that. He was too busy cashing them checks.